Hi there guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks very much for joining us again today. I've got a very short video tutorial for you today that will show you how to blur the background in Canva. Just before I show you that, there's a link in the description to the video that'll take you directly to Canva so you can try it for free. Then there's a free trial version for you. So if you want to access that after you've seen this, then you can just get into that via the link in the description for this video. So in Canva, I'm going to do this in a way which you can with the free version. So you have to pay for the pro version to like remove the background and process it, automatically. But in the free version, there's ways around it without sort of paying for that feature. You can do it more in a manual approach, which actually gives you a little bit more control, as we'll see today. Now this is going to be a little bit more of a advanced background blurring tutorial, so I'm going to presume that you've got an image loaded up already and you just need to blur the background. And I've actually picked one here that's quite complicated and really difficult to do on purpose. But your image will hopefully be a little bit simpler than this, but whatever I show you now will sort of cater for whatever you need to do. Okay, so when you've got the image, select it, single left click, and then hit edit image in the top left hand corner here. And then I've got it here now just because I've just been experimenting with it just before doing this tutorial. And in the most recent version of Canva that I've got, it's going to be underneath the filters and underneath the mosaics and all the photogenic, right down at the bottom of the list. But you're basically looking for this tile here called blur. Okay, so you want to find the blur tool and then give that a single left click. Then you can see that you've got then the ability to add blur, restore, so delete it, and then automatically add blur to the whole image. So, just to give you a quick idea, if I hit auto for a second, and you can see that, the image has now gone blurry. If I turn the intensity up, it goes really, really blurry. And then if I step it back down, it goes, just slightly out of focus. So there's a big range of blur that you can apply. If I cancel that then for a second, and then add blur, and then I'm going to add it manually by just hitting add this plus symbol in the middle. And then this is going to allow me now to paint in blur to the image. So you can see that I've got control over the brush size and intensity, and you cannot set those after you've painted it in. Okay, so you have to kind of, set the level of intensity, paint it, then that's it. That's the, you can't then modify the level of intensity after you've painted it, if that makes sense to you. So I'm going to reduce the brush size just a little bit to make it a little bit less cumbersome, and I'm going to start by making the most intense areas of blur appear. So that's going to be the objects that are furthest away from the camera. So it's going to be these trees really here, and this is why it's quite complicated, because it's quite covered in branches. So I'm going to do my best just to sort of paint that out, and you can see I'm just single left clicking and holding and painting that area out with that level of intensity. I'm going to kind of take it there, and it's showing me now in that light pink area. So I haven't left this left single click go yet. I'm going to go up into there. I'm going to leave it there, and you can see that that's quite an intense level of blur. So I'm going to undo that just for a second. And I'm going to take that, dial that right back down. It doesn't need to be that bad. And I think with an image like this, you've got to kind of really dial that intensity, it seems, down quite a lot. Because, you're kind of trying to emulate the effect of a camera, really, aren't you? So if I started at about 8, for example, and just give that a quick little paint in to see it. Yeah, that's better. We'll go with that then. So I'm going to reduce the brush size, and just that brush size is going to be respective of the image that you're working on, really. And this area here now, I'm going to sacrifice that little bit of branch in the foreground just to kind of paint that out and make it look like it's further away than it is. Maybe those trees on that corner piece as well, and bring the edge of the road in. Then I'm going to reduce that intensity. I'm going to step it down a little bit to say 6. We'll go for 5 then, being as it landed there. And now I'm going to start picking out this little area here, which is just left of this branch, or tree, sorry. Obviously I was looking at the branch when I said that word. That is definitely a tree. I could have tried to paint around that little branch that I just sacrificed there, but just to give you an idea, you can sort of cut limbs and things like that off. You can spend a little bit more time than I do doing that, and now you can see that is a little bit more sort of photogenic. So if I try and blend that level of blur in there, and I'm going to go to about there, I think, in the image, and then across, and you can kind of see that the idea is that you're adding in layers of blur to emulate what it would look like as depth of field on a camera, and you're going to leave the objects in the foreground then sort of unpainted. So like I said, this is more of a sort of advanced method of doing it, and you can kind of layer stuff in. And then we're going to go for one more layer. Just, you can see if I go down to 2, I'm going to go for 2. It's quite hard to dial that little fader in. There you go. So I managed to get it in the end. And then I'm just going to, just about pick some of the objects back here, just because that's the other side of the road. You've got to try and imagine sort of distance from the camera is what's going to do this, as opposed to, distance in the back of the image, if that makes sense to you. If I go there. And yeah, I'd say that about does it now. Obviously, I did forget that little area to the left there. I can grab that in now. And maybe try to layer that in a little bit better as well, but that'll do. And you can see that that's, quite successfully blurred out that area of the image. I could maybe think about blurring out the little area there, and that then gives you the sense that more three-dimensional. So the beginnings of the branches, like I just painted out there, are blurred out, and the tips aren't. So it gives the sense that they're kind of coming at you a little bit. So you can see that you made that picture look a little bit more, like it pops and bring focus to an area of the foreground. And that concludes the video tutorial. Okay, so like I said, if you want to give that a go now and give Canva a try, click the link in the description below. And if you enjoyed that, and you give the video a like, and if you want more content of that nature, you can give us a subscribe to the channel. And if you've got any comments or questions or suggestions for future videos or anything like that, leave them as a comment down below. Thank you very much.